Camera speed.
Sound production.
Roll sound.
Rolling.
Sound production. Take 2.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? Now, we're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Or, your father was right. You were an idiot, and everything you watched was stupid. So buckle up, movie aficionados. Over-the-top gore? Check. Over-embellished action? Check. Gratuitous nudity? Double check. Storylines so absurd you could drive a semi-truck through those plot holes. Oh yeah, some of those movies didn't even know what a movie plot was. And that's the way we liked it. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Yay!
Hello.
I didn't know if you were going to make it.
I made it with like 2 minutes to spare.
Nice.
Oh, more like a minute and a half. But what else? I got distracted.
Busy day.
Yeah. There was work. There were meetings.
Oh, wow.
And then after work, I was like, I just need to decompress for like a half a second. And then I got distracted doing something. And then I was like, oh, shit. Let me go make my coffee, get my water,
Yeah.
do this. Oh, whoa. I went too far on that. There we go. Okay.
All right. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. We come on here and record our podcast live. So how this works is we start the show by reviewing the movie that we previewed last week. And last week we previewed our first of 3 versus movies. And it was Child's Play 1988 versus Child's Play 2019. We checked out reviews, looked at posters, taglines, lots of taglines. Box office, we watched a trailer. We both thought we were going to like the 88 version. I watched this before we came on, and we both thought we were going to like the 88 version, and neither of us has actually seen the 2019.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we both thought 2019 we both thought looked good. And 88, we thought we were going to like it. We just didn't know how much we were going to like it, if we are going to like it as much as we did back then. And we'll get to that shortly as we go over the movie and give our score. And then as we are still on our road to Halloween for a while still, we are going to move forward with our Halloween episodes. And after we review Child's Play or Plays, we preview 1985's Return of the Living Dead, which after putting all the previous stuff together, I got more and more excited for.
I remember loving them and having a good laugh about it. I will admit, it's a fun movie. That was what I remember most about it. But it's also been like at least a decade since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's been longer than that for me, for Return of the Living Dead. But yeah, I remember liking it too. And we'll get to that shortly as well. So welcome back to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. We are so happy you came back. I have watched both Child's Play movies, 1988 and 2019. Have you?
Oh boy, have I ever.
I also watched them back to back. Like I took a pee break and then got something else to drink, but
Same.
back to back. I also watched 3 episodes of Chucky season 1 following that. And then another 2 episodes the next day to close out season 1 of Chucky.
Wow, you were not messing around.
I had a Chuckified weekend. Okay, so let's go with 1988 first, then we'll do 2019 and score them individually, and then we can comment on which one we felt was the better of the 2.
Okay.
So let's dive right in and get to the first adventure of that ginger-haired little rascal. In 1988, Charles Lee Ray, a well-known serial killer and wanted fugitive, is seen running through the streets of Chicago after he is fatally shot in a toy shop by Chicago homicide detective Mike Norris. Charles transfers his soul into one of the good guy dolls via voodoo spell. This causes the shop to explode, and Mike finds Charles' body. This was a lot longer than I remembered this opening.
Me too. I was like, wow, they're really just letting us watch him run.
Yeah. A lot of bullets going off and little squibs going off.
I think they were trying to establish that he was looking for, because he kept saying, like, I gotta find somebody, gotta find somebody.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so he's looking for somebody, but I felt like it went on too long.
Yeah. And it was very 80s.
Oh, so 80s.
Uh,
So 80s.
Side note, Eddie, his sidekick there, and that
Mhm.
leaves him in the van, is in the Chucky series.
Is he?
Yeah.
He looked super familiar.
Yeah, that guy isn't. But the character is Eddie Caputo. There
Oh.
is he does make
No, the
one.
actor looked
Yeah,
really
the
familiar
actor.
to me, and I was
Yeah, the
trying to
actor.
figure out where I know him from.
Yeah, no, but yeah, he did look familiar. I couldn't figure it out.
I couldn't either, but it was driving me bananas because I'm like, I know you from somewhere. I know you. Couldn't figure it out.
And I like Sarandon, Chris Sarandon.
Mhm.
He was in a lot of great movies I loved as a kid. Like he was Jack Skeleton from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep.
He Fright Night, Princess Bride, Dog Day Afternoon, Bordello. Like, and honestly, I had no idea he was Jack from Nightmare Before Christmas until I'm like, really? That was Chris Sarandon. Danny Elfman sang the Jack parts, the Jack song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but Chris Sarandon was the actual voice. I had no clue. I must have seen that movie. I don't know how many. I
Interesting.
owned it at one point. Never knew it was Chris Sarandon. Okay, so the next day, a widow named Karen Barkley purchases the same doll, now known as Chucky, for her son Andy's 6th birthday from a homeless man. Yeah, see how badly people needed jobs in the 80s?
I'm
Jeez.
trying to figure out how she afforded that apartment
Oh, I actually had I have
on
a
the
note
sale.
on that. Yeah, like that was
Yeah.
a kick-ass apartment
It was
for
a
a
gorgeous.
single parent working at a department store.
Yes. I was like, hold on. You are just a clerk, not even a manager
No,
at a department store
with a kick-ass friggin'
with a huge apartment,
huge apartment, even by today's standard. Like,
ginormous,
yeah,
beautiful old like heritage building. I'm like, girl,
fireplace.
right? A working fireplace.
But she was afraid to leave her position. Uh,
Mm.
yeah.
She needs the job, but apparently, I'm like, that apartment must be paid for. Like the life insurance must have paid for it.
Yes. Yeah. It was, yeah. Her husband must have paid for it. And before this, we see Andy making breakfast for his mom. I just kept thinking, Jesus Christ, she's gonna have to clean that shit up.
Can I tell you?
Oh fuck.
Can I tell you? The anger,
That mess
that
fucking
that
kid was
mess
making.
he was making, even before this kid spoke, I was like, I kind of hate you. Kind of hate you, you little motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because the cereal spilling, also, can we talk about the cereal and the big chunks? I'm like, those are fucking cookies. They're not like cereal pieces. They're fucking cookies. But
Yeah,
anyways,
they're big.
burnt toast and then the big glob of country crock on it. And I was like, oh, and I was just watching the spillage and the dripping on the carpet. And I was like, I want to smack this kid. Spoiler alert, that feeling never disappears for me for the entire movie. FYI.
Poor Andy Barkley.
Fuck him.
He opens his presents early. She got him clothes and put it in a box that looked the exact same size as a good guy doll. Like the kid looked at it and like, that's my doll.
And then he opens it up and it's like, no, those are my pants.
Yeah, clothes. Then she gives him the doll that she bought from the homeless guy after that, and he's very happy. That night, Karen's co-worker and friend Maggie Pedersen is killed when Chucky causes her to fall from the apartment window while she babysits Andy. Okay, so yeah, Andy, if that was bugging me about her too. Like I knew her from somewhere, and I had to look it up. Empty Nest.
Empty Nest,
yeah. And
that's where I know her, but she's in
tons of stuff.
Yeah, if you watch TV in the 80s, you know exactly who Dinah or Dina Manoff is. Like, you saw her face throughout the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah.
Like, she was a staple. So it's always funny to be like, which one do I know you from? But I knew her best from Empty Nest because I watched the shit out of that show.
Yeah, I watched quite a bit of it too. I like the jerk, the douchebag neighbor.
Yes. Oh
Yeah, he
God,
was
what was his
awesome. I
name?
can't remember his name.
I feel like his name was Chuck.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was something very
Um,
frat boy esque.
yeah, he was on the lines of Larry from Three's Company.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Andy asked if they could watch the news because Chucky's friend Eddie escaped custody. She puts them to bed. Chucky ends up on the couch or chair watching the news. She gives Andy shit for that. This was great. These little hints of is the doll alive type thing.
Yeah.
Because Maggie thinks she's going nuts. All these weird things are starting to happen. So Karen even calls, and Maggie's like, something weird is going on. Then it's nothing. She thinks that something is hiding behind the plant by the window. Nothing. Then that little toy hammer
To the eye.
clocks her in the face. Yeah, to the eye. And she goes flying out the window.
Mm-hmm.
That was silly, but that was a great stunt. That whole
Honestly, it gave me a little bit of a jump scare because I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. I
Yeah.
forgot about the hammer in the eye.
yeah, because it was a jump scare. It came out of nowhere, and then
Yeah.
she went out the window. She went.
It was just all of a sudden she was gone, and I was like, oh. But it was fun to watch all the little, oh, how did that get there?
Yeah,
Oh, where did that come from? And that was great, and I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I was just kind of like, it almost felt a little too long because I felt like there was too much time between each of
yeah,
the or the like peripheral, like seeing movement out of her eye. And I felt like there was too much time in between those. Um, but I liked the scene overall.
yeah. And this is definitely a movie. I actually felt the exact same way. There is a big difference from watching this the first time
Mm,
and then rewatching it. It's huge.
yeah.
Maggie had stopped Chucky from getting live updates on his ex-henchman, Eddie Caputo, who abandoned Charles when he transferred his soul. She mistakenly thought Andy was disobeying her by not going to bed. As a result, the police searched the apartment. Andy is deemed suspect by Mike, much to the annoyance of Karen, who orders Mike and the police to leave once they complete their investigation. I love how the entire precinct was there
Yes.
and
Yeah.
making themselves at home.
Yep.
One guy was
100%.
sitting on the couch reading paper. I think a couple of them were in the kitchen making coffee.
This does not surprise me. They
No.
were I was like, shouldn't you be searching? Like they kind of searched the apartment, but they kind of didn't. But what killed me was it was after the detectives had been because Karen gets called back. The police are already there
Yeah.
and they're just relaxing now, I guess. And it was very odd because I was like, this is when you find the like teeny tiny footprints in the flower.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, with all of them there. Yeah.
Yeah, with all of them standing there, they wait until they've already talked to everybody. And then when the mom comes home and they're talking to the kid and being like, "So, like, let me see your feet." And it was like, "What?" It was a very, very they played fast and loose in the 80s with,
Oh, yeah.
civil rights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The next morning, Chucky orders Andy to skip school and take the train downtown. While Andy is urinating, Chucky sneaks into Eddie Caputo's lair. Now, that wasn't a lair. That was a fucking shithole. Jesus
Yes.
Christ. Did you see all those rats just
Yeah,
wandering the
no.
kitchen? Fuck
That
that.
entire I was like, "Nope. Nope."
They
Although
were
I
big
I
ones too.
I
Ugh.
appreciate their, need to keep it real because when Eddie Caputo is on the bed, you can see his breath
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
he's breathing, and I was like,
How cold it is. Yeah.
"Damn, they didn't even give you a little heater in the room to, like, keep you from hypothermia while you were shooting that scene."
And it was winter, so they didn't even have to.
Yeah, they were just like, "Nah, man, we're just not gonna bring in a heater.
No, you're good.
We're just gonna let him lay there for however many hours it takes." I was like, "I appreciate that."
Turning off a stove's pilot light by turning up the gas, Chucky toys with Eddie, who accidentally kills himself by shooting the stove, resulting in an explosion.
That was
That
cool.
was an explosion. Like that was
Half the house fell down.
they blew it up real good.
Yeah. And I liked the like seeing Chucky open the oven, blow out the pilot lights,
Yeah.
turn on the gas, and then you just kind of like wait for it and you're like, fuck, when is this gonna happen? Totally like that part.
Yeah.
Um, I was still very angry at Andy
Yeah.
because
Andy
I'm
was
like,
a stupid little kid.
your doll tells you to skip school, ride the train, go to a shitty part of town, and you decide it's best to just go pee
Yeah.
and leave your doll there and then go looking for your doll. And I was like, what the fuck? Anyways, this kid just drove me nuts through this entire movie. Wanted to punch him.
Andy, who is once again a suspect, is placed in a mental hospital by Dr. Ardmore until further notice. That night, Karen discovers that Chucky's batteries were never inserted and that Andy was telling the truth about Chucky functioning on his own power. While she is inspecting the doll, Chucky comes to life, bites her, abuses her, and escapes. She then finds Mike at the station and shows her the scar that Chucky made. He does not believe her and leaves. After almost being killed by Chucky in the car, Mike finally agrees to help Karen. Okay. That is a pretty quick that a lot happened right there.
Yes.
Did the batteries fall out first? Yes. Like she talked to it first and then she inspected the box.
She made like kind of like an offhanded comment. And then I think she was getting the box to box him up to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And then when she was picking up the box,
the
batteries fell out. I was like also hearkening back to a time when toys came with batteries.
Yeah, batteries included right there on the box.
So far back. But yeah, the batteries fall out, and then she's like, wait a second. So then she goes to check the battery pack in the back of Chucky. And she's like, oh, there's no batteries.
Yeah.
And then that's when she starts trying to force Chucky to talk to her.
Yeah, because we're also cutting back and forth. So Andy is now suspect number one. And as absurd as that sounds, in the movie, if you're the cops, it's either the kid or the doll. Like I know now parents would be like, well, if Timmy said it was the doll, we fully support him because we blah 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 blah. No, your kid's a piece of shit. He killed them. Yeah, I've got 5 of them, and all 5 are total douchebags. Don't tell the little one, the young one I said that.
No, don't worry, I won't.
No,
I'll keep your secret.
The sun shines out of that kid's ass. The other day, my wife was trying to tell all the kids that we don't have favorites. Like, and all of them just looking at me, who's looking at the 5-year-old adoringly. And she turns her head, she's smiling ear to ear. Oh, but Andy is suspect number 1. Yes. He goes to the group home or the orphan, the hospital thing.
Yes.
Karen wants to believe her kid, and then she starts yelling at Chucky. He says, "I'm Chucky, want to play?" And she drops it, and it rolls under the couch.
No, wait, doesn't she threaten to set it on fire?
No, not yet, because it rolls under the couch, and then that's when you think, oh, because she slowly goes down. Walks, and then you're like, oh, he's going to be gone, but there he is. She grabs him. Oh, this is when it's going to happen. Nothing. So it plays a bit different. Then she grabs it hesitantly, and it's not doing anything. So then she's like, okay, you don't want to talk, and then she starts the fireplace.
Okay, yeah.
Then, but Chucky goes batshit. Like, he's like, you stupid bitch, don't fuck with me. And he's
At one point, I was like, Chucky's a biter. Like, I made that.
Yeah,
I was like,
he likes to bite.
Going. Like, he went for her arm, he went for her neck. I was like, are you trying to take a chunk out of her? Like, calm down, sir.
Yeah, that's in one of our him biting her is we use that clip in I think our 80s opening or closing.
Yeah.
And then he runs away laughing down the elevator.
Mm.
She runs into the detective. She wants to go to find the homeless guy who sold it to her. He's like, are you kidding? That's a bad part of town. It's fucking Chicago. Every part's a bad part of town. She's like, I don't care.
Is there like one really nice neighborhood?
Oh, I'm sure there's a few nice
North
neighborhoods.
End something?
But yeah. She's like, I don't care. That's my son. I'd be upstairs popping popcorn,
Mm.
turning Netflix on, you know, taking advantage of my kid being taken away.
You're like the kids out of the house.
Yeah.
Let's
Hey,
enjoy the
Chucky,
quiet.
you do you, buddy. Um, she gets, and then she finds a homeless man, wants to get information. He gets assaulted by the homeless man. Detective shows up, punches him or kicks him in the balls. I can't remember.
Mhm.
Finds out the information. He got the doll from the burned out toy store, which the detective realized that's where he gunned down Charles Lee Ray.
Mhm.
Drops Karen off, promises to start again the next morning. And then he goes and gets the file on Chucky or Charles Lee Ray,
Yep.
gets back in the car, heads home, and that's when fucking Chucky pops out of the backseat of the car and starts strangling him.
It was fantastic because you just see Chucky, like, come up in silhouette behind him,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, there's, like, a rope around his neck, and I was like, "Perfect, yes."
And this was a very, I don't know if it was typical 80s or for mystery thrillers, because I did get a very film noir feel
Yeah.
to a lot of it. But there were a lot of points where you expect Chucky to jump out, and he doesn't. And you expect him to not be under that couch when she looks. And they played that up pretty well.
Yeah. I'll give them
Um,
that,
yeah,
100%.
and because the car scene was great. Like Chucky just pushing down on the accelerator.
The stabbing through the seats.
That was great. He's
That was so great.
laughing hysterically, trying to
Yeah.
puncture his balls. That was a great scene.
First, he tried to puncture his lungs, then he tried to
Yes.
puncture his balls.
And he's giggling and laughing the whole
Yeah.
time. Yeah, and where the 80s lack in digital effects, they surely made up with practical effects and
Yeah.
stunts. Not all times the stunts were good, but in this case,
No.
they were pretty good.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
and the only issue I had, I'll say, maybe, but it wasn't even that much, is you could tell when they were using the doll in the scene and when they were using someone wearing the Chucky mask.
mhm.
That was the only thing that was slightly jarring, but then again, it was also the Chucky mask was terrifying, so it was very unsettling anyways, so I mean, ultimately achieved its goal, but it was very like, "Oh, that's some dude wearing a mask."
So Chucky goes to John, Charlie Ray's former voodoo teacher. When Chucky asks why he's able to bleed, John informs him that the longer his soul remains trapped within the doll, the more human the doll will become. Yeah, because he's like, it hurt. It hurt like a son of a bitch, John.
Yeah.
In order to escape the doll's body, Chucky must possess the first person he told of his possession, with that being Andy. Side note, also, the voodoo stuff is brought up a lot in the Chucky series.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they really stitched together every movie in the series. It was kind of cool. Sorry, I'm getting off topic here. When John rejects Chucky's plea for help, Chucky fatally stabs John using his own voodoo doll. Yeah, he did more
But first
than
he
that.
broke both of his legs.
Yeah, that looked painful.
So painful.
Like the legs
So
snapping.
yeah, I was
and
like,
the
"Oh,
sound. Yeah,
oh."
that
The
was good.
stabbing I was more okay with. It was the leg
The
breaking that I was
snapping of
like,
the
"Oh
legs. Yeah.
god."
Yeah, it sounded and looked horrific. But this is the
Mhm.
same director that did Fright Night. And I
Yeah.
remember that having some really cool effects in it. So I'm not surprised. Chucky escapes just before Karen and Mike arrive on the scene. Before dying, John tells them that although Chucky is a doll, his heart is fully human and vulnerable to fatal injury. At the mental hospital, I don't know if it was a mental hospital, but
It was.
yeah,
For
it looked like a
children.
mental. Yeah. There are a lot of mental hospital things there. Chucky steals the key to Andy's cell, but discovers Andy is not there. Dr. Ardmore finds Andy and unsuccessfully tries to sedate him. Chucky kills Dr. Ardmore with a violent electrocution and soon follows Andy home. Also stabbing him violently with that scalpel. Like that was a lot
Yeah.
of blood that spewed
There
up.
was some slicing, there was some stabbing,
Yeah.
then there was the electrocution.
Yeah, I like that was obviously someone in a suit bending down and picking it
Yeah.
up and putting it on his head, but it looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, it looked really good. I liked that death. I liked it a lot because
Yeah.
you saw the progression, the steps.
Yeah. He follows Andy home and knocks him unconscious with the baseball bat. As actually he goes up the ladder, and that isn't that the scene where the lady's like, someone left a doll, and the
Oh,
guy's like, just leave it, the person will get it. She's like, oh,
in
that's
the
an ugly
elevator,
doll.
yeah.
Yeah. And Chucky's like, fuck you. Um, as Chucky begins possessing Andy, Karen and Mike arrive and stop him. Chucky slashes Mike, then goes after Karen and Andy. The pair trap Chucky in the fireplace and burn him. Okay, again, that's a little quick. This was a pretty long finale. Like Karen gets
Yeah.
bit again,
Yep.
a couple times, and
There's more
it
stabbings, like more
y-
cuts.
yeah, and it was shot really well because it was shot with limitations in mind. Like the part where
Yeah.
Mike grabs Chucky off Karen and throws him, we see
Mhm.
Chucky roll, kind of get up, grab his knife from in front of his overalls. You know that was someone in a suit,
Yeah.
but the lighting made it like it. You just got to see like the outline of everything. So yeah, it was very cleverly shot. Um, okay, so yeah, Mike gets stabbed, gets beaten with the baseball bat, knocked out. Chucky chases Karen all over the apartment. And that's where I had the note, which I might add, what a great apartment.
So
You
great.
really get a feeling of how awesome this apartment is.
Like,
Just
it's
chasing you.
ginormous. It is ginormous.
Yeah, this is even better than what's her name? Friends, Monica.
Monica. Oh
Monica's
god, yeah.
apartment in New York. Yeah. This
Oh,
is
no,
even
no,
better
no.
than that.
Karen had a pre-war apartment. Like, this apartment was nice.
Yeah.
It probably
Yeah.
was rent controlled. I mean, that's probably why she can survive on
Yeah.
CSR reps.
And then, yeah, but finally she gets him in the fireplace. And of course, Chucky makes a plea to Andy about being friends till the end. And Andy is like, this is the end. I thought that was a cool line, but from like a 6 or 7-year-old, it just kind of seemed
It was
odd.
odd.
Yeah.
I was like, cool line.
Karen would have been cool saying it, or
Karen would have been great saying it. If Andy had been a teenager, that would have been great.
Mhm.
But I was like, I don't think the 6-year-old is gonna come out with, like, the ultimate "fuck you"
No.
line, like, especially not this 6-year-old.
No. who had made nothing but bad choices this entire movie.
Bad choices through the entire thing. His voice grated on my nerve, but anyways, that's a different story. We can get into that later. But yeah, no, cool line. It just felt really odd coming out of Andy's mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking Chucky is dead, Karen and Andy leave the room to help Mike, but Chucky follows them and attempts to kill them. Chucky is again thought to be killed when Karen shoots off his head, arm, and leg. Not before a brilliant. I don't know if this was meant to be an homage to The Shining, but when Chucky was stabbing through the door and she was
Yeah.
standing there, that was cool too. Mike's partner Jack Santos arrives at the apartment and disbelieves the trio story just before Chucky's body then bursts through the ventilation duct and tries to strangle Jack. Mike then aims and shoots Chucky in the heart, finally killing him. Mike, Jack, and Karen go to the hospital. Karen turns off the bedroom lights, and Andy looks back at Chucky's charcoal remains before closing the door. It was Mike is like, "Do you believe me now?" And Jack is like, "Yeah, but who's gonna believe me?"
Yeah.
And that is Child's Play 1988
Mhm.
in a nutshell. So, yeah. So your score: buy it, rent it, stream it, skip it,
Stream it.
stream it.
Stream it. Um, this movie got on my nerves so much, but it's not even the movie's fault. Like, it was the kid. It was Andy. I fucking hated that kid. His voice got on my nerves. His acting got on my nerves. Like, I was just like, you're fucking useless. Every scene that didn't have him, I enjoyed. It
Mhm.
didn't scare me. It didn't like, there were a couple moments that were like, "Oh," or, a couple moments where I was like, "Well, that's fucking creepy." Um, so there was that, but I'm not even gonna lie, Andy annoyed the fuck out of me and ruined this movie for me. So I'm gonna hit it with a stream it.
With a stream it.
Mm.
Okay, my score. This was a very 80s movie. But okay, this one's hard because it's better than your average horror movie in terms of pacing, reveals, and is he finally dead moments the first time you watch it.
Mm,
I knew going in that this was going to be a slower, in fact, the slowest Chucky movie, but I still enjoyed watching it. It did give me that film noir feeling. The director knew the limitations, the crew knew the limitations and compensated brilliantly. They knew their strengths and played with great effect. The story for the time was pretty original. I know it wasn't the first killer possessed doll, but it was the best one. The acting was good. I agree. I don't hate Andy as much as Anna does, but I understand what you're saying, and I
yeah.
kind of agree with you. Yeah. He wasn't the best child actor.
No.
The look was good, but it was all very 80s. If you can wrap your head around it, you'll find a fun little horror. I don't know if I would call it really a thriller, horror thriller. Not a lot of gore, some
Yep.
decent kills, some decent attempted murders. If you haven't seen it in a while, it's probably still fun to go back and watch it again. Just remember you're getting a very watered down Chucky in terms of gore, violence, and screen time. Because he
Mhm.
doesn't even I clocked it. It's at the 46-minute mark when he attacks her, and you finally see Chucky as Chucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I would add this to my collection because I'm stupid about buying movies. I have Anaconda. Um, I don't know if I would buy it because it's not a movie I could watch again anytime soon.
Mm,
That's why I would say rent it slash at a discount. If you haven't seen it in a long time or if you've never seen it, I would say it's worth $1.90, $2 or $1 rental on one of those Apple
yeah.
deals. Yeah. First time watchers will get a neat and tidy, surprisingly well made, even by today's standard, thriller. Chucky
Yeah.
fans will get to see where it's all started, but it's slower than the other Chucky minutes. Yeah.
It's slower. It's
That's not a bad thing.
not as witty.
It's yeah, and his
There's
yeah,
there's no
his
banter.
yeah. What makes Chucky Chucky
Yeah.
is yeah. Like you didn't get it, you got little bits of it here.
Yeah, this was very much an introduction.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a good introduction to Chucky and to the Child's Play universe.
Yes.
Um, not groundbreaking by any means, but I did like what because they kept it almost like they didn't try to fuck with shit. They were like, we're gonna make it look like a doll. We're gonna
Yeah.
find some little people. We're gonna shoot from certain angles. We're gonna work this so that we can still show him
Yeah.
and it can still feel doll-like, which I appreciate. I did make one note because they did use some, special effects to do the lightning in the beginning,
Yeah. That was very
and
80s.
I was like, "Oh my god, that's super 80s."
Yeah.
But that's really the only thing because everything else after that, the way they shot this
Very smart. Yeah.
was very smart, and it gave you very few moments like that where you're like, "Oh, this is so dated." Like, everything that was done could be done today. So I was very appreciative of that, but my
Yeah.
god, did I fucking hate Andy.
And the look of actually Chucky with the actual doll with the eye, the guy who married uh, is it
Catherine
Hendrix?
Hicks.
Catherine Hicks. Sorry. The guy who actually made he did it was very good for 1980. I was
Oh, yeah.
surprised. I was expecting something a lot worse.
No, it was super like, I was like, "Oh, like, you guys did really well for this." Like,
Yeah.
this is impressive, and it was the way things were shot and the way they did all of their I don't know what you call it when you make the dolls, but the dolls were incredible and, like, the facial expressions and the movement, and I was like, "Okay, this is great for 1988." We should
Yeah.
probably preface that.
Yeah.
Today, this would be like, filmmakers if you were to produce this today exactly as it is, you'd be
Yeah.
laughed out of
Yeah.
Hollywood. I was like, "1988, though, you're killing it." Like, this was
Yeah.
very smartly done.
Yeah. And if I never seen a Chucky movie and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch them, and I watch this movie first,
Mm,
um, this movie is it's one of those movies where it's the best when you watch it the first time.
Yeah.
It's not a movie that that I personally can watch over and over and over again.
I think if you've seen the sequels, this movie loses a lot of its luster.
Yeah, that's why I said it's a
Yeah.
watered down Chucky. Like
Yeah.
I watched the Chucky, and then it's just Chucky in just overdrive in the series, where it
Mhm.
has complete swearing,
Yep.
gore. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, okay. So we have a stream it and we have a rent at a discount. Okay. Could it be rebooted today? They did.
Oh boy, did they ever.
Which brings us to Child's Play 2019. Before we start, I was excited to see this movie, but after all the good reviews and the hate, like the IMDb hate,
Mhm.
not everybody, but a lot of people did not like this movie. I went into this movie not expecting a Chucky movie at all. I was not expecting Chucky.
Yeah.
I was expecting something different, and I think that helped me immensely.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
If you are fully immersed in the Chucky universe,
This,
like
yeah,
all of the
no, this
sequels,
did
and then
not
you watch
work.
this movie,
Oh, wow.
you're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
100%. If you're expecting what came before for this movie, you automatically will hate it.
Yeah. And okay. So Child's Play 2019. The film starts with an ad for the Buddy Dolls, made by major tech developer Kazan. I think I'm saying
Caslin?
that. Caslin Industries. The Buddy Doll can connect to the owner's electronic systems and adapt to their routines to help them in their day-to-day lives. So I believe something like this is actually coming.
Oh,
It's
100%.
not that far away.
We You can interact like, it's not a doll, but you can interact like this with Alexa,
Oh,
Siri.
we do. My kids do.
Yeah. Like, Alexa, tell me a joke.
Yeah.
Sing with me. I'm
They'll
like,
play an entire game of Dungeons and Dragons with you as the dungeon master.
Jesus.
Yeah. The smallest one will ask it to tell a story, and it'll be like, "Do you want to hear Frozen? Would you like me to tell you a story?" Yeah, it's and like an idiot, I'm gonna be like, "Look, kids, look what I bought."
It's a doll you can talk to just like
It's
you
a
talk to
doll.
Alexa.
Yeah, but this one can walk around and do shit. Um,
That's not
at
terrifying at all.
Yeah, at Caslin Industries, Buddy Assembly Factory in Vietnam, an employee is chastised and fired by his supervisor for insufficient work after he finishes the one he's on.
Mm.
So look at that, kids. People get smacked around at work in other countries. I see TikTok videos of kids, like young people, complaining that their work is not, what is it called, time flex, where they don't feel like coming in at a certain time.
Oh.
And they're like, they're not even time flex. Like, what the fuck?
See, it's very different when you grew up in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I hear the kids talking, I'm like, "Suck it up, buttercup."
Yeah. I think we should all round them up and ship them off to places like that. Not
We
to see
don't
if they like it in other countries, just leave them there.
Just
I
Maybe
bet
we
the
don't.
TikTok videos would be really different. I don't want to be here anymore.
They won't let me leave until I finish 1,000 units.
I asked to have a break and he smacked me. So in response, the employee uses a computer at his workstation to tamper with the doll he is assembling, disabling all of the doll's safety features, as this particular buddy is shipped out alongside others in preparation for international delivery. The employee commits suicide by leaping out of the window into a car.
Mhm.
First, it should not be that easy to turn the buddy doll evil.
No, it shouldn't, but also super weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, first of all, everything they're not speaking English, but apparently all the code was in English, as was the computer program. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, cool. Weird, but fine.
Helps me
Um,
as a viewer.
Also, why is a computer programmer putting together the doll working in assembly?
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's an issue as well, but
Yeah.
fine. The guy looked tired. He looked sweaty. He looked, upset.
And by all accounts, to the other guy that smacked him around, he was homeless before he got given the
Apparently.
job. Yeah.
It was just it was a lot. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm suspending my disbelief and I'm gonna believe that this is a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if a homeless guy off the street can figure out how to do all that, how long before AI figures out how to do it?
Right?
We're all doomed.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah, whatever. Uh in Chicago, Karen Barkley, who returns at a store called Zedmart, and her 13-year-old hearing impaired son Andy are settling into their new apartment. I bet Karen in 2019 pays a lot more for that shithole apartment than Karen did in 1988 for that beautiful.
100%.
Jesus Christ. The 80s, if you watch the movies, the 80s just seem better.
Well, I mean, also that apartment would be more expensive,
Yeah.
but it still wouldn't have been crazy in the 80s. And now that apartment also, I was wondering how she got it, but apparently it was in a rough neighborhood.
Yeah. Karen encourages Andy to try make new friends as she works to prepare for his upcoming birthday. In an attempt to cheer Andy up and make up for the unease caused by the move, as well as the presence of her new boyfriend Shane, Karen blackmails one of her work colleagues, Wes, in order to procure a defective Buddy doll, the same one before, just so you know, as an early birthday gift. So there's a lot to unpack. I had such a crush on Aubrey Plaza when I was a kid back in 2019. But she's a pretty cool, seems like a pretty cool mom. Her boyfriend, such a dick.
And this is also a problem because if you watch a lot of like Hallmark movies and Lifetime movies, he's in a lot of them, and he usually plays the super uptight guy that nobody actually likes, and he usually ends up being the ex-boyfriend. So I already knew. He shows up, I'm like, "You're a dick."
Oh, so this wasn't a stretch.
No.
No.
The poor guy. I'm like, "There's something about your face that just..."
Yeah, it's he probably says that too. You get the part, honey? Yeah, I got it. Is it a good part? I'm a douche. Just playing another douche. And blackmailing Wes, that scene was awesome. I did like that.
That was great.
And she did kind of joke, seeing that Andy was a little older, that's what the gift was, because he was like, "It's a doll. I don't really," and it was just supposed to be kind of like a gag gift.
Yeah.
Also, Andy chickened out going out making friends. I get it. I got a super shy, not the 5-year-old. 20 minutes in the park, half the kids there think they're coming back to my house to go in the pool. She's like, "These are my friends. They want to come in their pool." Once Andy activates the doll, it names itself Chucky. It was supposed to name itself Han Solo.
That's what he
just
was
Han
like,
Solo.
Your name is Han Solo.
Yeah. Did you say Chucky?
He's like, "Hi, I'm Chucky." Like, no.
Andy has a hard time getting Chucky to do what his functions are supposed to do. He gets commands wrong and inadvertently creeps Andy out by waking him up at night, staring at him. However,
so fucking weird.
Yeah, Andy finds that he can talk to Chucky about his feelings towards his mom dating Shane, and Chucky forms a genuine attachment to Andy. He starts to teach Chucky how to scare Shane by showing him how to make creepy faces. Chucky does so, but his recording device also plays back Andy's words about Shane, which makes him mad when he hears them and gets Andy in trouble with Karen. Chucky's doing a lot, like not just the weird stuff. I mean, he can do he's a very complex doll. How much was this fucking doll? Did it have
in theory?
Yeah,
especially in 2019, it should have been retailing for like $1,500.
Oh yeah, like this is like he could do chores.
Yeah,
like carry shit around.
He could bake a cake.
Yeah, of course I would buy one. Why did it happen once? What a chance of it happening again? As the two bond, Chucky helps Andy to befriend two other children in the building. I'm gonna fuck this up. I know one's Pug, and the other one's Fallon.
Maybe.
Yeah. Over time, Chucky begins to display violent tendencies, strangling Barkley's pet cat, Rooney, after it scratches him. And as Andy and his friends are gleefully watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 one night, Chucky starts mimicking the violence on the screen and approaches the trio with a kitchen knife before Andy disarms him. Strangling the cat was funny. Trying to kill the kids like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, also funny.
I did not find either of those funny.
Where he grabbed the
As soon as I saw that there was a cat, I was like, "Oh, that motherfucker's gonna die."
Oh
And
yeah,
it
you
made me
knew the
very
cat was
yeah,
going.
the
Yeah.
cat's gone. Which was fine. It is what it is. It's a pet in a horror movie. They don't have very long life
Yeah.
expectancies. Um, but it was funny because I was sitting there, right, and I was like, "Oh god," like the actual shot where the cat is being choked,
Yeah.
great shot, very funny. Like that one like head-on shot, beautiful. The cat being choked in general, not funny. The going to stab the
The
kids
kids?
while they're watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, not not okay. That one made me nervous. I was like, "Aw, shit. No." He's just going and then he was like, I thought it would make you laugh." And it was like, "What?" It's very this Chucky doll does really great creep factor lines,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's very disconcerting.
See, and if my kids were watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that'd be one of the things I'd be trying to get my buddy doll to do. I'd be looking for the switch to turn off. Like I'd be telling my wife, "No, it'll be funny. Watch." Not if it happened to me. If it happened to them.
Yes.
Also, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, as I remember, it was a very underrated and awesome movie. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Andy arrives home the next day to find that Rooney is dead, and Chucky admits to murdering it so that it would not hurt him anymore.
Mhm.
And he throws the cat down the garbage chute to keep his mom from finding out. Karen locks Chucky in a cupboard, but he escapes. Why did she lock him in a cupboard this time
Oh,
after the cat? Sorry, it's the plot that I copied,
wait.
and it's not really telling me why. Did she maybe something to do with Shane? Chucky tries to
Yeah.
make it up by frightening Shane again. Oh, maybe it got mixed up.
Oh, you know what it
Um,
was? No, because the doll kept repeating, "Shane is an asshole, Shane is an asshole." And
Oh, and
then
she kind of thought it was funny, and then he was kind of mad.
yeah,
And
he was pissed
yeah,
about it, and then she was like, "You've been spending too much time with the doll and putting him away."
right. That's right. Chucky tries to make it up by frightening Shane again, but as he plays back Andy calling Shane an asshole, the man goes to Andy's room to confront him about leaving Chucky around and to state his problems to him like a man. Yeah, Shane is a total dick.
Shane is such a dick.
I know Chucky's going to kill him at this point. I'm just like wondering how.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to go on the record as saying that, this Karen Barkley is a shitty parent.
Yeah, because she's taking his side. Yeah.
Like, not even listening to Andy. And I'm like, "Your kid has pretty much told you that he doesn't like your boyfriend. Every time he shows up, your kid disappears. These are all indicators that maybe you should not be dating this person or at least not bringing this person around your son."
Yeah. Yeah,
But
totally agree.
anyways.
Andy is left crying and saying how he wishes Shane would go away. Chucky hears the request and his eyes glow red as his face forms a sinister smirk.
Mm.
Uh-oh. Chucky follows him home, Shane, where it's revealed that Shane has a family and has been cheating with Karen. While Shane is outside taking down Christmas lights, Chucky frightens Shane into falling from the ladder and breaking both his legs. I don't know if this was a reference to the leg snap in the 88 version.
Maybe, but oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because in our trivia section, in the preview, only available on our live recordings every Wednesday night, starting at 9 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. It was going to take place during Christmas. They changed it, but the director liked the scene so much and kept it in. Now I see why. And this couldn't look more painful. Seeing those two leg bones shedding out.
Oh god, that was so when that happened, I had to close my eyes.
Yeah, that
Like, I was like,
even
"Oh god."
worse than the 88 version of the leg snap.
100%.
Yeah.
This was terrible. This was absolutely
Yeah.
terrible. But
This
not
was one of
like
those,
like
I
it was
winced.
yeah, I closed my eyes. I was like and I got really nauseous because I was like, "Oh god, that's bone. That's
Yeah,
bone sticking out. Oh god."
both legs.
Ugh.
Yeah. Like I've fallen a little bit and you land on your leg and that
Yeah.
shooting pain goes straight up. I bet you that was worse.
I'm gonna say that's a safe bet. Also, I love that his kids were inside.
On
Like,
their
just
phones and headphones.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then they, like, take out the headphones for, like, a half a second, and then they were like, "Hmm," and put it back on, and I was like, "Yes, you let your
Uh,
daddy die."
yep. Chucky activates a tiller which scalps and kills him. Okay, so those listening that don't remember or haven't seen it, the tiller is heading towards him. He turns around on the ground because he can't stand.
Mm,
Stops it from advancing. He grabs it with both his hands. Again, this was one of those things where just roll your side, dude.
why would he do that?
Yeah.
When he could
But
stay in the
then
path of the tiller.
and then Chucky jumps on his chest with a knife and holds it over his face. This poor bastard is like, do I let the tiller go to stop Chucky or do I let Chucky stab away?
But what did he say right before he stabbed him?
What did he say?
"This is for Tupac."
Oh yeah, Chucky. Yeah,
But
this
that's
is for
because
Tupac.
the
they were
little
they were trying to
hoodlums
get
in
him
the
saved for
neighborhood.
the TikTok video.
Yeah, they were like, "Stab the unicorn, say this is for Tupac," and I was like, "Oh god." So then when he says that, when I was like, "Fuck yes. Perfect."
And the tiller grabs his scalp and rips his face right off.
And the scalp? No, it just ripped off his scalp. I don't know if it ripped his face right off at that point. I think his
Yeah,
face was still on there
maybe his face was,
because I
and
remember
but
being
yeah,
super
it's
shocked, but it
the
came off
skull.
and then it became like a gnome toupee and I like flew out and landed on a gnome.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
on
"Yeah."
the gnome's head. So dumb.
I was like, "That's fantastic."
And it looked great. It did look great.
Yeah.
Like the whole, it was
It was a
crunchy and
great scene.
yeah, I totally see why he wanted to keep that scene in.
Oh, yeah,
That was a great scene.
100%.
The following day, Chucky delivers Shane's skin face tied to a watermelon as a gift to Andy, as you would.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
Police Detective Mike Norris is called to the scene of Shane's murder and begins an investigation. Andy, Phelan, and Pug decide to disable Chucky and dispose of him in the garbage. I like Detective Mike. We see him earlier befriending Andy,
Mhm.
and then Chucky calling him a narc when they were all hanging. All the kids were hanging him out in
Yeah.
the outside the building. Um, they then try to get rid of Shane's melon by wrapping it in gift paper to throw down the garbage chute. Unfortunately, they are spotted by Karen, and when Andy says it's a gift for Doreen, Mike's mother, who lives in the building, Karen offers to escort them over to give it to her. Before she can unwrap it, Andy tells her that he would like for her to open it on his birthday in a few days, to which Doreen agrees. Building voyeur and electrician Gabe finds Chucky and takes him to the building's basement to prepare him for online sale. Now fully repaired, Chucky kills Gabe with a table saw. That's an oversimplification.
I was gonna say, like, a lot happens
This
in that
creepy
creepy
fucker, yeah.
basement. It starts
Uh,
at the very beginning where you get introduced to his creepiness.
yeah,
'Cause the very first time you see him, he's setting up a camera in the hallway, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, shit, he's a voyeur." Like,
yeah.
he's
And why
creeping
are they
on
all
everybody.
middle-aged white dudes all the
Um,
time?
Statistics, my friend.
Oh yeah, you
Statistics.
can't argue with statistics.
That's right, because the majority of sexual predators are actually white men, I think,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Um, so that's a bit of an issue. Uh, but I mean, so it makes sense. But
yeah.
yeah, when we make it to the basement where he's got Chucky down on the table, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, a couple times I was like, "Are
Oh,
you
I thought
gonna?"
he was gonna diddle the doll.
That's what I thought too. Like
I thought
you
thought Chucky
definitely
was gonna
get
be
that vibe.
pedophiled.
Yeah, you get that vibe. So I
Yeah.
was like, I mean, good
Chucky
job.
got pedophiled by Gabe. But yeah, so he puts Chucky back together, and you're like, oh. Chucky escapes his work table and starts attacking him. Genius
Mhm.
gets on a bandsaw that looks like it was only there for the reason of having it in that scene. But it was intense. Like he's holding on the pipe, and
Yep.
Chucky heats up the pipe because it's all run by Caslin.
Mhm.
Um, instead of kicking the bandsaw over and dropping to the floor, this guy falls on the bandsaw crotch first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think actually, does he get stabbed in the nuts?
Oh, he might have
Before
got
that, like,
stabbed in the nuts before that.
just before
Yeah,
he gets up on the table saw, he ends up getting, because
Chucky's
Chucky's
running
going around
around.
just slicing and stabbing him in the legs and the
Yeah,
ankles
he
and
might have
just
gotten
fucking
the
him up
nutsack. Yeah,
while fucking with the Caslin home system. So like Chucky's turning off the lights. Gabe's
yeah,
trying to turn them back on. He cuts all of the monitors and then Gabe needs to get them back on. So it's like a lot of back and forth, and Gabe's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and it's amazing. Then he gets stabbed in the nuts. Then he jumps up on the table saw because why not? And then the table saw shifts. So what does he do? Grab onto the pipe, and then
yeah.
Chucky heats up the water, and then he just drops on it. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, I had to close my eyes again a little bit because I was like, "Oh shit, that
Yeah, this
still
was another win.
hurts."
Yeah, and it was a gory
It was super
scene.
gory, and then I think
Yeah,
his leg pops off, and I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, nice."
yeah. His leg does come
That
off.
was actually really cool.
And before that, we actually see him start touching himself as Karen was
Yeah.
getting ready for the shower, and then that's when Chucky started to.
Mm.
Yeah, you don't feel sorry for the people getting killed in this movie.
So far, no.
No, but again, just roll to your side, like kick the bandsaw over. How many movies have we watched where just rolling to your side could have saved your life or
Too
prolonged it
many.
a bit, maybe?
Too many.
Yeah, it was a gross scene. It was a good scene though. I did like
Mm.
it.
No, I like the scene. I like the scene a lot because you know what? From the very beginning,
Yeah, he
you're
looked
like,
super creepy.
"This is creepy. This is dirty. Something bad is gonna happen." And then something really bad happens, but you're not even sad about it because just like Shane,
Yep.
he had it coming.
Andy and Karen later go to the Norris apartment for dinner. Actually, Karen doesn't go. It's just Andy,
No,
right?
it's just Andy.
Yeah. So they got this wrong. While there, Chucky overhears Doreen refer to Andy as her new best friend. Uh-oh. When everyone else is out of the room, Andy manages to get the Shane melon away from the apartment and throw it down the garbage chute. Chucky ends up in possession of another kid in the building, Omar, and proceeds to kill Mike's mother, Doreen, by controlling her self-driving Caslin car. Another good scene.
Mm-hmm.
The self-driving Uber, and Chucky hacks into it. That car crashes into everything.
Yep.
And he undoes the seatbelt. He turns off the airbag. I like the "you hobbit motherfucker" dialogue. When he says Andy's my best friend.
This was the first death that I was sad about.
Yeah, I liked her. She was cool.
I liked her, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
no, but you were great." Just gone.
Yeah, she's gone. Mike later comes across his mother's body and weeps before he later finds out that the Shane melon was discovered in the chute, and he recognized the wrapping paper around it.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Andy fails to convince Karen that Chucky has become murderous, and she takes Andy along to her next work shift in order to keep him nearby. This is where, because it doesn't say this is where he gets in the fight with the kids.
Yeah.
Chucky tells him what he's doing and puts stuff on the TVs and stuff like that. Then at Zedmart, customers are gathered as the Buddy 2 doll is about to launch. There was a scene before this that a customer is trying to return the Buddy doll because he didn't know it was a creepy ginger.
That was I didn't know he was a ginger, and
I
she's
didn't know
like,
he was a
"I don't
ginger."
think you can say that word." And she was like, "Yeah, because you can see the doll
Yeah, it's
in the
on the.
box and see that it's got red hair, not
But
blonde."
he was just mad because the Buddy 2
Yeah.
was coming out. Yeah.
He was like, "I'm supposed to get the blonde one," and she's like, "I don't know what you want because this is you can see the doll."
Yeah, it's got the window
Yeah.
of the whole box. Yeah.
It's not my fault you're stupid.
So everyone storms in like it's Black Friday as the doll goes on sale.
Mm.
But as Wes comes out in a Buddy costume, he is stabbed in the neck by Chucky. His costume head comes off. Oops, where did we go? And blood is sprayed all over a terrified
Yep.
little girl. The lights in the store then go out as Chucky takes over all the electronics in the store. Mike, suspecting that Andy is the killer, travels to Zedmark and apprehends him as Chucky takes control of the building. Havoc ensues as employees and customers alike are assaulted and murdered by drones and other hack buddy dolls. While Chucky triggers the store's lockdown sequence, Mike is wounded amid the massacre, and Andy and his friends manage to reach the exit. Actually, Mike dives or helps Pug. I think it was Pug. Because one of the little drones was going to get him.
Not gonna lie, I thought Mike died.
I thought Mike died too.
Yeah.
Only for Andy to be lured back in when Chucky reveals that he is holding Karen hostage and plans to kill her. Andy manages to free his mother while under attack from Chucky. This was a cool scene. Karen being hoisted up by the forklift to be hung. Andy has to climb it up, undo her as he's fighting off Chucky. Andy is faced with Chucky, who says that if he can't be his friend, nobody can, before overpowering and defeating the doll with the help of Karen and Mike. While paramedics tend to Karen and Mike, the other survivors, Andy and the rest of his friends smash Chucky's lifeless body in a nearby alleyway. In the aftermath, Chucky's killing spree, Caslin Industries CEO Henry Caslin provides a disclaimer regarding Chucky programming, and as more buddy dolls are shown being recalled and placed into storage, one of the doll's eyes begin to glow red and it smiles. And that is Child's Play 2019.
Yes, it is.
So Anna's score for Child's Play 2019.
Rent it. Full price. I like this movie. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of creep factor to it. There was a lot of being uncomfortable and wondering what was going to happen next. It's not a classic Chucky movie, so if you go into it with a clean slate, I think everybody can enjoy it. There is some gore, so if you're squeamish, maybe don't watch it, but I thought it was a fun little movie, and it was a great warning about AI and how they could rise up and kill us. So, rent it full price, yo.
Rent it at full price. All right. My score. This is not a Chucky movie. It is nothing like the other Child's Play movies or Chucky movies or Chucky TV series. This movie would have benefited from having nothing to do with Child's Play. They should have named him Frank or Pippin. That's an annoying ginger name. And just gone the Megan route. I guess a Child's Play movie, this fails in comparison without the psycho Chucky voice and attitude. Like even the mannerisms in the face, it just didn't have Chucky. As a movie I went in to watch not expecting anything resembling Chucky, I had fun watching this movie. It's too bad. I'd watch a sequel, especially if it really amped up the toy massacre. A lot of complaints was this is a Stranger Things generation of kids versus some kind of evil type movie like Attack the Block, Vampires versus the Bronx. And it's fine. The acting was fine. The direction is fine. The pacing is good. Story very familiar and horrifying and seemingly plausible. The gore, while not constant, is very gory when it is there. The dialogue, for the most part, is fine. I only wish Mark Hamill got a little more maniacal. When Chucky got red. I know he can do it. It was not a Chucky movie and never even came close to being one. 2019 isn't a pale comparison. It isn't even in the same league, but it is a fun kid versus horror film with good acting, good effects, some gore, and some funny parts. Child's Play 19 was fun, and it is worth a normal rental. I'd watch it again, not anytime soon, but yeah, I would definitely watch this again.
Yeah, no, I could totally, like, if this was on TV or if I just wanted to kill a couple hours, like, I would definitely put this on.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It was a fun little movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I think everybody who hated it,
they were expecting.
They pre-wrote the movie in their head, and they were like, this is not what I expected.
No.
Whereas I went into it and I was like, all right, show me what you got.
Yeah.
This incarnation of Chucky is not super Chucky, but.
Yeah. You know, we got the warning signs ahead of time, obviously, and that benefited greatly.
Oh, 100%.
Like I was looking forward to this movie a lot more than 1988 because I hadn't seen this and I really wanted to see this. But yeah, it was good. Now, okay. Now this is where the nerds are going to get you. Might get you. Which was the better movie?
2. 2019.
2019. See,
2019.
I liked both, and two were both very different movies. Both were fun. Both had decent acting. One was gorier.
Mhm.
When it came down to it, for me it was Chucky. Even the 1988 being slower and less Chuckified, it still didn't have Chucky in 2019. Didn't have Chucky in it. But saying that, 2019 was fun. It's
Yeah.
just, and it's not a Chucky movie.
And Andy wasn't super fucking annoying.
Yeah, yeah. He was a lot older too, which
He
really
was.
benefited.
He was a lot older and he wasn't the greatest communicator, but he didn't get on my nerves.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say I probably, if I had to pick another movie to watch again, it'd be 2019.
Same.
Yeah.
I
It's
never
kind of
want to
like,
watch 1988 again, which makes me sad.
yeah, I could probably go another 10, 15 years before I watch that again. And if it'd probably be a Chucky marathon, but
Mhm.
I might be, um, I might be willing to skip it. Just go right to 2 and 3 and Bride of Chucky and Curse of Chucky. Yeah, because once Chucky, I don't remember part 2 a lot.
Oh, neither
Child's
do
Play
I.
2. So I'm sure we'll watch it. But I
Mm.
believe he gets a lot more maniacal. He gets more
Are you
with
trying
his
to say
little mouth.
maniacal?
Yeah. Not the
Okay.
manacle, the maniacal.
The monocle?
The monocle. Yeah, so I hate to say it, but yeah, I agree with you. The 2019 was a better watch.
Sorry, the way you just I hate to say it, but I agree with you.
I don't hate
God.
agreeing with you. I can't
No, but
believe I'm
it's
picking this
over
Child's Play
the
over
OG,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of made me sad, but I realized 2019 had better pacing. It had way more creep factor. It had way more kind of discomfort when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily more scares, but a lot of, "Oh, Jesus, really?"
Yeah.
Like, you spent a lot of time kinda going like, "Oh god, what are we doing now?" Like, "Oh." So the tension was there in 2019. 1988, maybe it was just the pacing being super slow,
Mm,
or it was the incredibly annoying kid who played Andy. God bless. I'm sure he did his best, and the director apparently was happy with his performance.
yeah.
Um, I couldn't stand him, and that tainted 1988 for me.
Yeah. Now, for those listening, any other Child's Play, as far as I can remember, but like Curse, Cult, the Chucky TV series, there is no comparison. Um, the Chucky, you can't fuck with Chucky. Like he's an
Yeah,
icon. He's yeah. This 2019 doesn't compare to the lunacy of
yeah.
Chucky from Child's Play 2 and onward. Child's Play 2019 doesn't even come close. But Child's Play 1988, yeah, I it's like Friday 13th. I would watch the 2009 one
Mhm.
10 times before I watched 1981. Yeah,
No, I feel bad.
yeah. But if you've never seen any of the Chucky movies, I think you would really enjoy 1988.
100%. Like, if
Yeah.
you've never seen a Chucky movie, definitely watch the 1988, especially if you wanna go on and watch the others or even watch the TV series. Like, it's a good introduction to how Chucky got to be
Yes.
Chucky. Um, and the 2019 one, it's not Chucky.
Yeah, I don't even look at it as a Chucky. It's like
Yeah.
Megan.
It's fun though.
It
It's
is a fun movie, yeah.
it's just it's not Chucky.
And I wish they
That's
didn't
okay.
try to do that. I think if they made it a little different, it might have
Yeah.
been more well received and we would have got a sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, because yeah, the little ginger bastard from the other movies, he's just anything else is just a poor imitation.
This is true.
Yeah. All right. So for the podcast, we hope you enjoyed our review of Child's Play 1988 and 2019. Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
No.
That's it.
Please check us out on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or Instagram. And if you like to watch our live recordings, we are live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Or you can watch the podcast in full on YouTube or listen to a new episode every Sunday where you got this one. Okay. Thank you for listening to the I Remember liking that movie podcast. Until the next movie, remember liking. And for those watching the live, that movie coming up is Return of the Living Dead. So excited. So we are going to go on intermission. And when we come back, we are going back to the 80s and hang out with some zombies.
Woo!
All right.
It's intermission time, folks. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right over to our refreshment center for the most extravagant array of refreshment goodies ever assembled under one roof. Enjoy breathtaking, mouth-watering goodies. Everything from a snack to a delicious full meal. At our refreshment center, you'll find a large variety of goodies to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, or your sweet tooth. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Visit our refreshment center now. The show starts in 3 minutes. The show starts in 2 minutes. The show starts in 1 minute. And now, on with the show.
And on with the show. All right. Welcome back to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you are joining us, we are about to preview Return of the Living Dead. I am looking forward to this movie. Zombies have always been a favorite of mine. Anything zombie. Well, in that case, anything vampire, werewolf.
I enjoy the paranormal
Yeah.
and fantasy.
Demons.
100%.
Anything walking around with a mask and a machete. But zombies have always been a favorite. Like so many crappy straight to video rentals can attest to that for me.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get into because before 1985, okay, like we had Day of the Dead came out in 85, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, a bunch of ripoffs from Europe, like City of the Living Dead, Night of the Zombie, Zombie with no E, Zombie 2. That's the one I think where the zombies fighting the shark underwater. Fantastic stunt, even to this day. Point is, there was not a whole lot of movies back in 1985. Then this movie came out. I did not see it in 1985. You?
No, I think it was like mid 90s by the time I saw it.
Yeah, this would have been near the end of the 80s, early 90s for me. I actually saw Return of the Living Dead 2 and 3 before I saw this movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for a while, as young as I was, thinking I thought 2 was the superior movie. That changed as I got
Oh.
older.
Understandable.
Yeah. Although the second part has a special place in my heart because it has that Michael Jackson zombie near the end.
Yeah.
Getting electrocuted and doing the moonwalk. I remember it being scarier than the other. When I got older, I like the movie Return of the Living Dead. I remember being a lot scary. I got the humor a lot more as I got older.
Yeah.
I also remember the teens being a lot cooler, but as I also got older, I found the older guys in the movie actually made the movie better.
Yeah.
Like especially the 2 workers and their supervisor and the old guy that runs the cemetery. Yeah.
I can understand that. I did not find this movie scary at all, but I still love it.
Yeah. And it has been a while since I watched it. The last time I saw it, I actually remember the effects being better than most movies at the current time. But I'm looking at like at least 15, maybe 20 years ago. Maybe not 20 years ago, but maybe 15.
For me, it's been about 10 years. It was on, oh God, I don't remember what channel it was on. I think it was on the 80s channel, the 80s movie channel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know which one. Anyways, it was on, and my brother-in-law was watching it. And then I got sucked into it.
Yeah.
And I ended up watching it with him. And that was at least 10 years ago. So it's been at least 10 years since I've seen it. And I just remember having a good time watching it.
Yeah, I remember
I
being
was like, I
fun.
like this. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's go over some box office. Let me see if this works or if we go back the other way. So can you see that okay?
I can see that.
See if I can see it. Gotta make it bigger. Oh, that's better. Okay. Okay. So 1985, August 16th, Return of the Living Dead came out.
Mhm.
It opened in 1,506 theaters and it opened in 4th place. It had a budget of $4 million. It opened at 4.4 million. Domestic closing was 14.2 million. International was $781. I don't know where the fuck they got that or where they show it.
One random movie theater
Yeah.
or cinema as they in like London probably played it for a few weeks.
And then so a total of 14.2 million. Yeah. So it did okay. And I'm
Yeah.
sure it made a lot of money. It's VHS rentals, blah, blah, blah. It opened behind Back to the Future.
Oh.
Volunteers. Back to the Future was in its 7th week. Volunteers was in its 1st week. That's with John Candy and Tom Hanks.
Mm.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure was in its 2nd week at 3rd place. And this opened at 4th place.
Oh yeah, no, it didn't have a chance.
No, and I've always said that 1985 and 1984 might be the greatest years in the movie.
Mm.
Just to get an idea of that, Year of the Dragon. This is in order after number 4. Year of the Dragon with Mickey Rourke, which I want to watch so badly after seeing the poster. Summer Rental, John Candy. European Vacation, Chevy Chase. Fright Night, Real Genius, Cocoon, The Bride with Sting. Was it Sting that was in The Bride?
Sure.
I never seen it.
I
Follow
haven't
That
seen it.
Bird, Sesame Street. Silverado. I remember not wanting to see that movie. My parents watched it on TV, that 80s movie channel we were talking about. E.T. re-release, and I remember Silverado being awesome. The Black Cauldron, totally underrated. Rambo 2 and Weird Science. So if you were going in the
Wow.
movie theater in 1985, that's the choices you got.
Oh yeah.
And those were a lot of classic movies.
That is a lot of classics.
So yeah, so box office, it did okay considering its budget and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm pretty impressed. I didn't realize the numbers would be that high.
So now we will go to the trivia. If I can find it. All right. And I will start. The filmmakers had to get approval from Lysol to have Frank spray away the stench of death with their product. Lysol actually liked the idea that Lysol would kill any conceivable odor, so they okayed it.
That's fantastic. Some of the zombie extras were paid bonus to eat real calf brains in the film. Dan O'Bannon didn't want the actors to do anything he wasn't willing to do and ate some raw calf brains first in front of them to show that he wouldn't ask them to do anything he wasn't willing to do himself.
Yeah. I remember going to the
Ew.
market with my grandmother and they had calf brains. Ugh.
Oh, the brains, it's eating them raw that I have an issue with.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it. Eat all of the animal, but raw?
After the rabid weasels are brought into the resurrection funeral home and the tarp is removed, what is actually in the bags are motorized toy monkeys that have had the symbols removed.
That is
So that was a clever
fantastic
little,
note.
yeah.
Dan O'Bannon reportedly thought that this movie would only be popular with horny guys, hence the amount of female nudity. On the DVD commentary, he claims he was surprised at how many women were in the initial audiences and said that if he'd known he'd have such a large female following, he would have shown Freddie naked as well. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
In an unprecedented,
Precedented.
there we go, move, a fan of the film started an internet campaign to get this movie released on DVD, going beyond simple fan petitions. Michael Allard created a web page consolidating every bit of news relating to the film and contacted many of the film's principals, including the writer and director Dan O'Bannon. He went to put Dan O'Bannon in touch with MGM, the studio that owned the film, and work began on getting the film released on DVD. O'Bannon and others who worked on the film credited Allard as his campaign for getting this movie actually released on DVD.
Nice.
Yeah. Dan O'Bannon, he is known, he only directed 3 movies, and one of them actually stars Chris Sarandon in a horror movie in 1990 something. I'd never seen it, but I saw it. Looks cool. He's more well known as a writer. He made Dark Star with John Carpenter.
Mhm.
After that, he started on like a sequel and called it something stupid. I don't know what it is. It actually was Alien.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's written quite a few popular movies. Also, the old actors in this movie you think would not be like they did it just as a paycheck or whatever. They actually, all of them liked the movie. One of them said it was one of the 3 best, most artistic movies they've ever done. The guy who plays the main, not Freddie, the old guy, he came in on his days off just because he was having fun doing it, and he loved the cast. And yeah, so it was really cool reading on. There's a whole bunch of books and the Blu-rays and 4Ks have a lot of this stuff on it. I went down a rabbit hole, got lost in a bit of it. All right, let's go to the tail of the tape. Okay, so Return of the Living Dead is a 1985 horror comedy, rated R, and comes in at 1 hour and 31 minutes. Taglines: they're back from the grave and ready to party.
I like that one.
That's the only one. That's
Good
it.
thing I like it.
They must have liked it too, because that's all they did. When Foreman Frank, James Karen, shows new employee Freddie, Tom Matthews, a secret military experiment in a supply warehouse, the 2 klutzes accidentally release a gas that reanimates corpses into flesh-eating zombies. As the epidemic spreads throughout Louisiana, Kentucky, and
Louisville.
creatures... What did I say?
Louise?
Louise. Of course I did. Louisville, Kentucky. And the creatures satisfy their hunger in gory and outlandish ways. Frank and Freddie fight to survive with the help of their boss, Clu Gulliger.
Sure.
and a mysterious mortician, Dom Kaffa. All three of these older guys are so recognizable
Yeah.
from 80s and 90s, 80s and 70s TV, actually. The movie poster.
It's a
Yeah.
great poster. I love it.
Yeah, I do like that. I would love to get a, yeah. And underneath where it says Return of the Living Dead, that has the zombie, underneath that is, I don't know if you can see it. I can't.
I can.
It is a lot of, it's the soundtrack, which is a lot of punk rock bands back in
Oh,
the 80s.
fantastic. I do remember the soundtrack being amazing. I was like, I want the soundtrack. of this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. All right. So now this is surprising. 46 critic reviews have this movie at 91%.
Holy crap.
I thought I was on the wrong movie. 50,000 plus audience has it at 79%.
That's super high.
Yeah, both are super high. Critic
Yeah.
consensus: a punk take on the zombie genre, The Return of the Living Dead injects a healthy dose of 80s silliness to the flesh consuming. Okay, you can start.
I'm ready.
All right. Fresh.
The makeup effects are tremendous, and Kaffa and especially Karen are hilarious as working stiffs. No pun intended. Matt Brunson, Film Frenzy, original score 3 out of 4.
Part spoof comedy, part kitschy horror, The Return of the Living Dead was tailor-made to achieve cult status. Brian Eggert, Deep Focus Review, original score 3 out of 4.
The Return of the Living Dead is the most 1980s zombie movie ever made, and I say that as a compliment, mostly. Chris Plant, Polygon.
The scares are always accompanied by silliness, though the special makeup effects are often outstanding, contributing to a considerable yuck factor. Mike Massey, Gone with the Twins, original score 7 out of 10.
Not bad. Ed O'Bannon and John Russo may have intended The Return of the Living Dead as a comedy, but it's just too damn gory, too scary, and too good to be dismissed as a zomcom. Christopher Lloyd, Sarasota Herald Tribune, original score 5 out of 5.
It's kind of a sensation machine made out of the usual ingredients, and the real question is whether it's done with style. It is. Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times, original score 3 out of 4. The Rotten.
The volume of stagey gore quickly reaches a point of diminishing returns. Stephen Holden, New York Times.
And that's it. There were a couple more, but it just said
Yeah.
rotten. There was nothing.
Yeah.
But I there was only like 3 or 4 of them. Like 91% was positive. So
No, that's crazy.
yeah. Now IMDb, 66,000 user ratings, has that 7.3 out of 10.
That's
All
pretty
right.
high.
I will start this one. What every horror comedy wants to be. 10 out of 10. Apollyon Crash.
Damn, this was good. 9 out of 10. Erica J. Thompson.
One of the quickest 90 minutes you'll ever experience. 8 out of 10. Tom, oh, my
Gillespie.
thing blocked. Gillespie, 2002.
An adolescent masterpiece that was a compliment. 7 out of 10. Joseph Jans.
For pure 80s punk rock, Walking Dead, brain-eating mayhem, this is the film to watch. 6 out of 10. M. Wilson, 1976.
Personally, I don't get it. 5 out of 10. Aiden rates movies.
Didn't like it much. 4 out of 10. Ivan Ravenous.
I can't believe people like this movie. 3 out of 10. Film fan 15.
Avoid it. 2 out of 10. Max 304823.
This would have been good if it wasn't so bad. 1 out of 10. Movie Muse.
Now they're okay. 3 out of 10 and 2 out of 10. One of them only had 2 to choose from, and one of them
Yep.
only had 1.
Damn.
There were a lot more 1 out of 10s, and they're funny, so I put them in. More like Return of the Living jokes. 1 out of 10. Aussie Stud.
Oh, Lord. Terrible movie rises from the grave. 1 out of 10. Art Vandelay, importer exporter.
I have that shirt, Art Vandelay, importer exporter. It's a Seinfeld reference.
That was fantastic.
All right. Okay, so the only thing left to do is to watch the trailer and then
Mhm.
make a prediction. See if I can find it. There it is. All right.
In the dark of the night, something strange is going on. You see that movie, Night of the Living Dead? Sure. They ship those bodies. Well, say hello. The dead have risen from the grave.
Mister, there's 100 of those things out there.
How many did you say? 100. And now the question is, how do we get them back into the ground? Bert, Frank, we have a little problem. 4 left, 10 right.
It's all over everything! Stupid asshole! Watch your tongue, boy, if you like this job! Like this job!
Medical science is baffled.
It's a puzzle, because technically, you're not alive.
Why do you eat people?
Not people. Brains.
How do you kill something that's already dead?
Well, how do I know, Fred? I don't know. Let me think. It's not a bad question, Bert. In that movie, they destroyed the brain to kill him. Is that what they did? The brains, right.
Brains!
I hit the brain. Oh! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off!
The military is nervous.
How was your day?
Usual crap.
The police are confused.
Send more cops.
It worked in the movie! Well, it ain't working now. Read the movie line! It's not a bad question, Bert. It's not a bad question, Bert. It's not a bad question, Bert.
The return of the living dead.
All right. What are your predictions?
I think I'm gonna think it's incredibly cheesy, but I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I'm getting really good at not seeing the trailers anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it brought back a lot of
Yeah.
yeah. It looks funny, like
It looks
cheesy
very-
funny.
Yeah. There's gonna be a lot of like laughing and eye rolling. I can feel it.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about watching it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, this should be. I hope it's good.
Me too.
And with the reviews and everything, yeah,
A lot of people seem to like it, so I feel pretty good going into this thinking I'm gonna love it.
I think
Yeah.
so too. All right. And with that, we are going to go and watch Return of the Living Dead. And for those listening or watching live, please watch Return of the Living Dead and come back and see us to see if you agree with us. For the podcast, we are going to watch Return of the Living Dead and to see if it is indeed as good as we remember. All right. So, yeah.
Fantastic. I'm very
Do
excited.
you want a part?